What is up, you guys? Shabbat Shalom. I hope you're doing well. We are here for our weekend reflection message. This is our tarot and oracle reading where we kind of sum up the lessons and reflections over the week. And I think that this is a poignant message as always. So the general theme of this week, according to it's so funny because I don't notice it because usually my readings start with our weekly energy forecast, which starts a day ahead of when I'm getting the messages from the weekly Torah portions and Zohar readings. And so which is the Zohar, daily Zohar is exactly what the daily Torah portion is. It's just the spiritual interpretation. It's deeper Kabbalistic interpretation. And so, but always I realize once I've listened to my podcasts that are related and done the daily Bible stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, as always, our messages totally speak to the energy that is addressed within the daily journey of the Torah. And I am not surprised, but it always is so fun to see that and to put those connections together and those synchronicities, which always makes me feel that much more encouraged and assured that we are getting the right guidance, hopefully at the right time, not too much and not too little, because it's bad to know too much as well. And that's why a lot of times I avoid getting into too much detail about directing people's personal lives and choices on this channel, and I stick to what we can do to awaken ourselves and focus in on our own healing, because if I prevent you from going through the fullness of your process, then I haven't helped you. I've in fact held you back and prevented you from using your own free will. So there's also this element of proactive confrontation where Kabbalah breaks down, particularly specifically this point of view comes from the Kabbalah Center, or this approach to it. But in the process of the approach to understanding this method, but I'm just trying to credit the right source. But proactive confrontation is split into these steps of criteria to take yourself through to see if you should or should not say something to someone, or tell someone something, or reveal something to someone. And, one of the aspects is spiritual permission. Do you have permission to reveal this or tell this to someone? And there are various other aspects to consider as well, but we won't go into that now. So our reading, this week, the lessons have been all about the summation of our karma and our understanding of the lessons that we've been through in this life, and realizing how our experiences have allowed us to shape and shift our destiny from our fated path to our destined path through our transformation and growth and awakening. And so all of the messages have been reinforcing that this week, including my own personal message to myself that I'm looking at off camera now. It talks about it's not just this lifetime that we're dealing with, but a collection of the eternal life that our soul has gone through and experienced, cycle over cycle, lifetime after lifetime. And many times, I think we're realizing it more fully now that sometimes when we think things are unfair in our life, it's not that they're unfair. It's just that what this lesson might be fully related to might have stemmed from a seed planted lifetimes ago, because we have this ever developing soul that we carry with us through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And our unique soul has a unique contract with this set of assignments to complete, to fully reveal itself, to transcend and heal the darkness and the weaknesses and the negativity, and transmute that into revealing the fullness of the light of the Creator, all the goodness. And so that transmutation forever takes that dark and that evil and that light that was stolen by the dark side in the beginning, and reclaims that light and defeats that darkness and breaks the shells of negativity by addressing it within our own self. And by doing it in our own self at a soul level, that then affects the rest of our systems and processes and our thoughts and our feelings and our consciousness, and then therefore bears in the fruit of our actions and the effect and influence that our actions have on the world and others. So lifetime after lifetime, we are facing these cycles and lessons and patterns and evolving our soul and hopefully awakening and healing, whilst, at the same time trying to elevate to the Christ consciousness. And this is all about the passage of the soul and the sojourn of the soul. And Christ came to ultimately deliver us from the endless cycle of our Tikkune correction. We were at a very base level of understanding at that time. So he had to come and awaken and elevate and make way for a capacity for us to be redeemed from what would be an endless sentence to a prison dimension, essentially, where we are held captive in our mortality and in our limitation. And so we're redeemed from that in our salvation within the Christ. But so this is a continuing and deepening of our realization this week of, oh, okay, so I really get what this has all been about. And we're having deeper revelation and wisdom and understanding about ourselves and our journey and our life. And it's giving us a lot of inner peace and release and forgiveness and, letting go of things that maybe held control over us and allowing us to shift our perspective and the way that we see and feel about things. So it's all preparing us back to the daily Torah for the exodus from Egypt, from bondage, from our ego consciousness, the lower consciousness. So, and diverting quickly, it's interesting, this morning I woke up with just the heaviness of the world, just the weight of it. It's like during the week when I'm at work, I'm aware, but I'm distracted enough and I'm around people enough. But when I've got my days off, it's like I'm rejuvenating, but also I get too caught up. I get a flash of everything, the depth of the reality that we're in, and that I'm haunted by the prophecies and the visions, and I have the holy vision of sorrow where I just start to weep and cry and pray for mankind and humanity and people. And so it was really heavy, and I was like, man, this is really robbing me of the joy of my day, and I should be happy and I should be trying to be playful and magnetic, and it's hard to be that way when I just can see such pain and feel this pain in the world, and not for myself but just for the world. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep moving, and I'm gonna do my daily prayers, and I'm going to do my daily Zohar lesson, which is the daily Torah portion, but the Kabbalistic interpretation of it through the Zohar. And I'm going to do some Bible study after that. I had been reading the Bible starting in Genesis recently, and I've made it up this far as of this morning I'm within the story of Abraham. And I had just gotten through the story of Lot and his wife, and back to Abraham and the covenant, and when Abraham was told to circumcise himself and all that. And as a student of Kabbalah, so this is why I liked specifically the Daily Zohar, because you understand the symbolism of the scripture, and so you can understand there's a whole new layers of what these stories are actually talking about, and what seem like absurd details are actually very poignant and specific details, and it's like a hidden encoded message from headquarters, you know, as if you were like one of those like World War II spies decoding a message. So that's really the way you're supposed to be reading the Bible. There is a definite language and specific references that are happening all the time. And so if you don't know or understand these layers and these contexts, and particularly with the language, and that's the importance of having a raw translation from the Hebrew. I'm trying to find one myself right now because of the choice of words. The Hebrew language is a magical system of words and letters, and it's miraculous the way that it can play with itself. And it sounded bad, but like it's playful and mischievous, and it can mean so many different things at once. And words, specific words, become acronyms that portray the concept of the metaphor being used for them. Each letter has a numerical value, and each word has a numerical value, which then has a symbolic connotation. So the choice of words is really important. So that's why a lot of the intended meaning and intention within the original Bible has been lost in translation. So I was reading today, and I started like making this connection of like, why are they so like specific? They're really hell-bent on making a point to talk about like these. When you look at the stories in the Bible, they're really short. There's not a lot of detail, but the details that there are mentioned are very specifically brought up for a reason. So you just have to wonder, okay, what is the significance of this detail? So I started realizing that there's this repetition of like wells, like water wells, and prophets and sages and patriarchs digging their wells in their claimed land, and that being like a pivotal marking point. And then I noticed this correlation between something around wells that happens in the Old Testament, but then again in the New Testament, and their intercorrelation. So after this episode, I stopped everything I was doing this morning, and I've spent almost all day in this deep Bible study, this revelation, making voice notes that started off as a stream of consciousness, and then it turned into a Bible study, and so then it turned into a really great video. So I am going to edit that just after this and put that up, but look for it in Secret Teachings Bible Studies. I think it's probably going to be the playlist, because it'll be a play off of the Secret Teachings of Jesus, where we do the Gnostic Bible study, and this is like New Testament, Old Testament. Okay, cool. So today's cards from the Radiant Sun Oracle were Jupiter in Cancer, which is speculation. It's funny too, because all of these cards actually completely correspond in their imagery, not necessarily the exact message that I'm going to talk about today, but in their imagery exactly to the illustrations and points that I was illustrating in the Bible study message that I'm talking about. So I just thought that was so interesting and funny. Okay, so the next card was the Moon in Aquarius, which is independence. The next card is Jupiter in Pisces, which is seduction. And then underneath speculation, we have the Strength card. Underneath independence, we have the Star. Underneath seduction, we have Ten of Pentacles. So, speculation card here. What I'm noticing right off the bat is the symbolism of the two royals up top, let's call them the divine masculine and feminine, the king and queen, are overlooking a table that has what I haven't read any of the booklet on this, but what I see are like probably seals of the alchemist, which are like philosophy, vitriol, it's like the things that we overcome in ourselves, like sulfur, tame, astronomica, wise mat, but it's like it's not spelt exactly, I don't know. So I think that this is like, to me, it's representing the spiritual alchemy, right? And there's the I here, which is like the higher super consciousness, the all-seeing I, the unified consciousness that runs through all things, the opening of psychic awareness and insight and understanding. So the divine feminine and masculine here are presiding over the alchemical wedding that brings us into unification and oneness with divine, with source. Meanwhile, we have the crab of Cancer, the moon, presiding over the whole scene. The moon is the divine feminine. It represents the soul, the vessel, the human body as the lesser body, mirroring the divine body. The moon is the lesser light, the sun is the greater light. And so we are changing. We don't have light of our own. We reflect the light that we receive, right, from the creator, from the sun. So this is like our own inner transformation, the sovereignty over even the four kingdoms of the self, right, the mental landscape, the consciousness, so that's like the swords, the fire, wands, that's the spirit, the sense of self and knowing the self and having that deep connection with spirit and trust and faith in the creator and God. And then the cups, we have the water, the emotional realm, having emotional sobriety and sovereignty over the emotions and being in self-control and not being controlled by feelings. Then we have, reigning over pentacles, king of pentacles, mastering pentacles. It's like mastering the material realm and being effective in your actions, having a healthy, balanced life, and being fruitful in your endeavors, being nurturing to yourself and those around you, being warm and grounded and stable and secure. And then we have, we get everything? So we have thoughts, spirit, emotions, and material world, that we have like dominion and mastery over all of those realms. I feel like we need to establish that right now and work on establishing it in order to really draw true strength, to have that foundation. And the center of that foundation is led by our connection with God, our connection with source. Not anything outside of source. We don't want to seek the vessel. The vessel is empty on its own. We seek the light within the vessel. So we will be eternally satisfied, right? Not just a drink of physical water, which will leave me thirsty in an hour, but a drink of eternal water, which will spring up in eternal life. That's part of the lesson of this upcoming video, so be sure to look out for it. So we have the strength card here. So it's like the embodiment of all of these lessons, right? Jupiter here is expanding Cancer. And so it's like expanding our most intimate sense of self and family and security, and our relationships that nurture us, the home, our emotional realm, our inner realm has been expanded. The card here is 4. 4 is wholeness. 4 is completion. 4 is stable. 4 is a square. It's a good, stable, geometric shape. 4 times 2 is 8, which is strength. So security on security. Like when Jesus says 77, he's like 7 on 7, 7 times 7. Like that's what he means. Like he means like double emphasis, like this on top of this. I got stacks on stacks on stacks. So 4 on 4 is 8, right? So it's like security on top of security, stability on top of stability. It's like all 4 kingdoms are stable. 4 and 4. The inner strength comes from, right now, we are learning how to tame the beast within, to tame that carnal consciousness, that carnal nature, those carnal instincts. Right now, we're preparing for the exodus out of Egypt. So we're breaking free from the bonds of slavery that the ego has on us to keep us bound where we are and chained in our fear and in our insecurity and our smallness and our comfort zone, right? And our distraction and our illusion. We are driven by reactive behavior to our base impulses until we awaken and rise above that lower nature, that selfish nature, by sacrificing that egoic self, by dying to that egoic self, and by being born again, a new creature. So that true strength comes from that gentleness, not of force, but of how love will reveal something and how water slowly dissolves what is solid, right? So true strength comes from gentle compassion and understanding and gentle persuasion. Like the Bible talks about, not by the clanging of gongs and the hammering of nails, by the sweetness of the smells, right? People will be lured in and invited in to the good news. So we again have the moon here in Aquarius. We have independence. So again, and then look, we have this this Egyptian figure standing over the scene, the moon in tow, and Aquarius, this like new sort of like healing on behalf and like thinking on behalf of the greater good, right? As a collective, power to the people, right? Awakening, like revolution on behalf of the unity of mankind, on the goodness of mankind. So we've got the moon in Aquarius. But the moon in Aquarius, like, again, this is a revolutionary, changing our heart to think more beyond our intimate inner circle, but also extending that same love, loving our neighbor as we would ourselves and our own. Loving the people outside of our immediate community as we would part of our own community, extending that welcome and that warmth and that generosity beyond our family unit, but into communities that don't directly benefit us, right? For the sake of the betterment of all. So the healing here, we're healing that egoic self, that desire and that tendency to be spiritually lazy and to do what comes easy for us and to avoid the things that stretch us outside of our comfort zone. You know, I'll show up in ways that are comfortable to me, that are palatable to me, but I'm not going to go beyond what's like easy, right? So we're overcoming that lazy, fleshy nature to want instant gratification, to want to be pacified, to want to receive for the self alone. And we are overcoming that lower nature and we're healing, and we have the star card, Aquarius again. Healing that is going to reveal miracles. And it's not just healing momentary things, but ancient things that we've carried through lifetimes, things that we've been working on through this entire lifetime. This is major spiritual healing when we see the star card. And so this is learning to not to restrict the desire. We're learning to restrict the desire to receive for the self alone, restrict the desire to receive instant gratification, and instead become a vessel that can receive for the sake of sharing that can share the light with others, that can use the light we're given and share that light to expand goodness in the world. And not only that, but to restrict that instant gratification, because we squander our treasures through instant gratification, right? Small purchases could over time have compounding interest to equal, thousands and thousands of dollars after they were invested. But we think, oh, what's a few hundred here and there? It's not going to add up in the end anyway. But we forget to look down the road to the long haul. What compounds over time adds up to our retirement, our savings, our legacy, right? So too, the small decisions in our spiritual life, they add up to what are we doing? Are we looking for to satisfy our lusty temptations for instant satisfaction, instant greed, instant hits of excitement, instant money, instant power, instant illusion of control, instant satisfaction of feeling like we one-upped our perceived enemy, just to get, to win at what cost though? What are we leaving as our legacy? What will we be remembered for? What are we doing to prepare our soul for its eternal legacy and its eternal investment? We do not get to take the treasures and the acclaim and the worldly goods and credits that we earn here. We can only, when we shed these flesh suits that you cannot run, they are only temporary. We have our immortal soul. And what investment did we make in this life to assure the security and wealth of our immortal soul? It's the change, the transformation, the path to become more like Christ that assures our awakening on the other side. Otherwise, we're gonna wake up and we're gonna be just as confused and miserable and going through struggle on the other side with no ability to navigate the afterlife, and then reborn again into an even bigger struggle in the next. So what are you doing to actually heal your eternal soul? And actually doing that has a ripple effect that not only, it's like when you heal the soul from within at the seed, the soul then informs the rest of the systems, those kingdoms that you want to bring into justice, into healthy working order, right? The quadrants of life we talked about earlier, those are your kingdoms. So we want to bring those into like a healthy operation, a functional working order. So we restrict that egoic self and we awaken the higher self, the self that becomes more like the Christ. And by doing this, we have to learn to overcome the seduction of our temptation, right? What is seducing us? What is our heart desire? What we accumulate, what kind of possessions we end up accumulating will be a reflection of our desire and what seduced the desire of our heart in this lifetime. Was it the connection, a greater connection with the Creator and an awakening and a correction of our soul to become more like the Creator? Did we desire a personal relationship with Christ? Did we desire to awaken our own ability to listen to our intuition and connect to guidance from the Holy Spirit? Or do we go after like just earthly distractions at the most benign earthly distractions and at the most malicious power, dominion over others? Prejudice, violence. What kind of a legacy are we leaving behind, right? There's so much intensity going on in the world right now because everyone's true legacy, what they're really building, what they're really creating, what's really on the inside is being shown on the outside. And what's been hidden for so long is being revealed. I mean, look at these crowd of these people right here. I almost hear that the title, the 12 angry men, right? The judges looking, this is the way they look on the spread. It's like they're looking at the divine feminine here. that is coming up. The divine feminine is the soul. It's the inside, right? We're having a transformation and a reawakening and empowering of our soul. So the outer here, the earthly sort of masculine, the outer expression, the material world, the world system is looking on at this spiritual awakening and this healing and this strength and this influence and this power coming over, this spiritual power coming over people, this awakening. And they're looking on and they don't know quite what to make of it, right? You know, their pursuits are worldly and materialistic. And yet, on a spiritual level, the wise man, if you look at this another way, the wise men are looking on at, because there's a lot of divine masculines who are very healthy and awakened right now that are really here for it and value and honor the feminine too. And so they're looking on, seeing, oh, okay, healing the soul, healing the spirit, the salvation happening right now. That's what's the most important. That's what's going to bring me the most long-term value. I'm restricting the desire to receive for the self alone right now, so that I can have heavenly treasures, and then earthly treasures will follow. If I have need of those, if they'll bring me deep fulfillment, if it's meant for me. And I lost my train of thought. No, but it was about going into the value of and not again restricting for the instant gratification. So instead of squandering our attention and our resources on things that will give us that immediate hit now, that will be just distractions, empty distractions that are meaningless, that are fruitless and don't mean anything at the end of a lifetime. I mean, I'm watching like the men of my generation contribute nothing of themselves to their lives and awaken nothing of their potential, because they're just wasting it all on PlayStation and like watching sports. You know, it's like, there's shit going on, and a lot of the women I know are really scared and really paying attention. And it's like, you know, so again, it's like we need to, and a lot of the women I know are also distracted and not paying attention, and they're numbing out too. And so as a humankind, we need to realize that sometimes we need to restrict the desire to distract and receive instant gratification and numb out or check out or whatever, and do the hard thing that requires us to change and to become stronger and to address and to heal and to correct, and to plant the seeds for the future. Right? We've got to think of our future generations. And also, what if you died now and then had to reincarnate and be born right now in this time? Born helpless baby in this day and age. And then grow up starting now in this. Ugh. I am hoping that this was probably, if that's the case, my last incarnation here. I'll be a heavenly helper being. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Like, you know what I mean? And like, good. I say that. I've probably just assured myself another trip back. So what are you doing now to make your future self secure, and to give your future generations here something left to live for, and showing them the way of what is truly of value to live for, what is truly meaningful to live for? Because there's so much emptiness and falseness and falsehood out there, and artificial everything that's coming. And just the fact that people are relying on AI so much now. I need an app. What is that app that's like you need an app to organize yourself so that you can figure out what you should be doing and how to prioritize your day and how long everything should take. And I need an app to like give me all of my exact health stats at every given moment. And I need an app to tell me when I'm ovulating and when I'm going to start my period. And I need an app to tell me what to eat. I need to breathe into this thing, and I need to have that. And I need to tell this thing needs to regulate my every like waking moment and every thought. And it's like, oh, now I need suggestions on what to watch. I can't make decisions for myself. I can't think for myself. I don't know. What do I like? What do I need? Who am I? I need to constantly be checking my levels. It's like we're not hooked up to fucking life support. This isn't the critical care center, people. We need to get off of the fucking grid a little bit more than we are. I'm not saying get completely off of, everything, but like stop being so dependent and stop being so plugged in to influence, right? Take your autonomy back. And I think ultimately that's what our weekend message is all about, because our life at this point, we're reflecting back on how quickly this life has gone by in our lifetime and how many changes and revolutionary twists and turns we've experienced, and now it's only going to accelerate. And so I think that we're all like at an oh shit coming to Jesus moment. I mean, some of us have been here, but I mean, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like the level of turned up that things got when we jumped timelines into this freaking dystopic horror show. So we need to start using our words with intention. Let's turn this into a cute little romantic comedy where we learn from love. And you know what, though? The light is being revealed. The light will be revealed. God has a plan, and evolution comes through great pressure. And the light came from absolute darkness, void, and chaos. And that is how our reality came into birth, into being, through the darkness in a burst of light. So, in a cataclysmic bang. All right, that's all. I'm going to get off here and edit and upload that other video, the Bible study video I was talking about. If you want a little direction and, some thought and some forethought into the year to come, I have a 2025 prediction series down below. You can get that in my Stan store for $10. It is packed with value. You've got yearly readings, quarterly readings, and monthly readings. They all come with journal prompts to help you direct your energy and focus and intention and get the most fulfilling experience from the year. I think that the videos themselves are evergreen, and it's like talking about our unfolding curriculum on the soul level throughout the year. And so going back at any time and watching those videos is going to help put it into deeper context. So January and February are still great videos to watch. Y'all, that is $10, so it's a steal. I'll talk to you in the next one. Ciao.